was the running sound in the loop. Anyway, hello, Real Estate Rockstars. Jam Session is on. Hannah Latin, your host, is ready to interview our coach, Linda Brown. You might have met her on several jam sessions. And in that case, you know that we will be talking about money, finances, maybe a little bit something about bookkeeping, but who knows? Well, Linda knows. Hey, Linda, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And once again, thank you for having me on. But our talks have a life of their own. I
Yes,
know
yes.
the topic that we're coming in with, and it can go in any direction of an octopus.
Any direction, but at the end, this talk will leave you smarter and hopefully more wealthier in case you take some of the golden nuggets directly from Linda and you implement it in your life. By the way, okay, speaking from my own experience, if during this interview you have any question related to the topic, money, wealth, financing, please type it down in a chat, and I do have my phone standby as well. And Roseanne will write down or let me know if there are any questions related to the topic. And if not, if you are watching this interview later on, I'm sure you can still post a question, tag Linda to it, and she will respond within reasonable time frame. Okay, let's put it that way. We are all very busy entrepreneurs, so let's go straight to it. Linda, if you can just quickly, briefly introduce yourself for those who are seeing you first time.
So hello, I'm Linda Brown. I am the founder of Spire Business and Profit and Peace of Mind System. And basically what that means is, as business owners, and real estate agents are business owners, that we want to make sure that you are making and keeping more money, and that you are not going into debt, and you're not spending more money than you make.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about me. We just finished in October. I'm sorry, the little kitty wanted to get down. In October, we finished a Begin with Bookkeeping course that we had quite a few people from the Real Estate Rockstars attend. And what was happening is they said, this is great for business, but what about our personals? Can you help us understand our personals? So what was being asked? Oh, okay, I understand. So I had a little thing from Roseanne saying I wasn't looking in the camera. I was looking at Hannah instead of the camera, so I'll look into the camera. So what I've done is created a personal finance course that actually will come out in January. Now, is it good just for personal finances? Yes, but it's also good for business, because we're talking about things like setting up a budget and how not to go into debt. If you are in debt, how do you get out of debt? Because that's one of the roughest things to do. So it's really about personal cash flow, but it encompasses business cash flow as well.
Yeah, loving it. So if you paid attention, this was actually something what was requested or suggested by you real estate rock stars, and Linda delivered. So I am extremely excited. I've been personally working with Linda since 2019. Now, there was a situation we will not talk about. All the paperwork was in a shoebox. Cat was sitting on the shoebox, and I really didn't want to deal with it. Why? I did not know how. So I ran through multiple courses Linda created, and I became her student as well. So, and I still am till these days. So,
My star student.
oh, look at all the stars behind me.
But you take you embody it. You can bring any student to a classroom, but unless they actually start implementing, all the knowledge in the world won't help them. And the great thing about you, Hannah, is you learn to execute. And so, that's what we hope that all of these rock stars out there want to do. Nobody can make your business better but you. Nobody can make your finances better than you. So what I have found, and you might have found the same thing, because we're both course junkies, is the best courses out there are ones that are led by people, so that you can actually ask your question. So I've made really sure, as has Real Estate Rockstars, that we are leading it with real people. We might give you some videos to watch, might give you some reading materials, but we want to be here to answer all the questions.
Yeah, the most important ingredients for me back then in 2019 was my pain and struggle, because I knew I was running my business really well and we were growing and we were making a lot of money, but at the end, I was not keeping much money, So I was thinking, what's happening? And then another pain was kind of like my worry about, what if IRS will pull me and flag me? And what if they would like to see my bookkeeping? It's all in mess. So that was the point in my life when I realized that I need someone who is knowledgeable, and then universe led me to you.
Which I
Anyway.
love.
So we only have 30 minutes for our jam session. So let's go straight into a jam. I know that your course will take 6 weeks. It's starting in January. I will ask Roseanne to post a link to your course. There is way more description about the course. Guys, if you have any questions, ask in the comments, tag Linda to it. She can get back to you. But when I was looking at the description, there are two things I would like to open up. So one of them, I really like your little thing called, well, little thing, it's a big thing, smart money habits. And when I was reading about a smart money habits, or when we would be talking about it, how just the little tweaking creates a compound effect, I could not think about my children, Philip and Lily. Both Lily will be soon 18, my son is 19. They could not be different when it comes to the money habits.
Mhm.
Okay, so
I have those two as well.
on one end, I have Philip, who is like really right now experiencing the pain of adulting. He rented his own place. He is working full time. He is going back to school. I cannot be more prouder about his choices. However, he really struggles. And then on the other side, I have Lily, who is extremely focused, extremely determined, maybe a little too much, but both of them have certain goals. Philip to get out of his debt, and Lily actually to invest. So if we can look at these two polarities and maybe relate it to real estate industry, are there any smart money habits you would suggest, you would recommend, or something which are part of your course? Can we tap into that? Smart money habits?
So smart money habits come with smart decisions. Okay, and I in my family am running along the same levels you are. I have a 27-year-old nephew who's getting married next year. They just bought their own home for just under $500,000. I have a nephew that's 35 years old, got married 2 years ago, and they're still scrimping and saving for a home. So what is the dichotomy on these, right? And it all comes down to your choices. Now, if we were ultimately wealthy or didn't have to worry about money, we could spend it however we wanted to. Reality comes down to you have a limited amount of money. So what decisions can you make to use that money in your best interest? Okay, because we cannot have everything. And if you can, you're doing well. But the question then comes down, should you have everything, right? Are you going to appreciate it less if you can have everything? And so making good money choices is really important. Are you making money for today and enjoyment for today? Are you making money for the future? Or hopefully you're making that a balance and you're being that like seesaw and balancing everything. So you're putting money aside for today or the past and getting out of debt. You're living on some money today and you're putting money away for the future. Because and if you're not equally balanced in all of these areas, what ends up happening is you start resenting working, you start resenting your life, right?
Yeah.
All I'm doing is I'm working to pay the bills. I don't have any fun. Or all the money I have is going to retirement. How come I can't have any fun today? And then what happens if something happens and your spouse is no longer there to share it with you? right? You know, if we go back 3 or 4 years, I'm sure that you and Barino would have wanted more vacations together if we were known that he was going to pass so young,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
what do we think? Oh, when we're retired, we're going to take that world trip, or when we're retired, we're going to buy that second home. So there's a happy medium, living for paying off your past to get to current, and then living for today, but also planning for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So how do we
Yeah.
make choices, right? That's the big key. And that's what we'll go through in the course, is how to make those choices.
Mm-hmm. How do you help your clients evaluate or students evaluate where they stand? Do you have any questionnaire? Do you do like overview of what's happening in a business, in a possible debt situation or investment? How do you evaluate?
So I do have worksheets that they are supposed to complete. Now, whether they do complete it correctly or not, I don't have that, knowledge. But basically, the first step for anything is list out all your sources of income that you get a month or a quarter. Make sure they're put in there. And actually, let's even say every year. You might have grandparents, as part of their estate planning, they gift you a large lump sum of money every year.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
basically we want to figure out your income every year. We want to figure out how much debt do you have today and what is the interest rate on that debt. Okay, there's good debt and there's bad debt. A
Oh,
good debt,
can you explain that a little bit more? Got my
okay,
attention.
good debt for business is money that you have spent that's helping you grow your business.
Mm-hmm.
Good debt in your personal life would be that house that you are living in.
Okay.
Bad debt is for those brief moments of enjoyment. So bad debt would be taking a loan out to pay this week's payroll. Bad debt would be putting money on your credit card that you can't pay off at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Okay. Bad debt for personal, and no names. I had a client that just took out a $120,000 loan for a 6-month course.
What?
So the question comes down to, is that $120,000 really going to change your life enough that you can do things differently? Now, I have not seen this course. I know the person they're taking it with, and I would say that there's very few courses, $420,000 over the course of 6 months, that is going to change your life.
Wow, I'm like really curious what
So
course
if
was it
somebody
or
has taken one of these courses that has changed your life to the tune of $120,000 in 6 months, please let me know. I
oh my
would
gosh,
love to
I
hear
want to
about
know
it.
as well. That is massive investment. If
Right.
later on, if we can return to this topic and you'll update us if it was worth it or not. But that's massive. That's almost a gamble. But no, I can't say that because I don't know what it is. But yeah, to me, like that investment. But hey, at least it's not a trip to Vegas.
Well, now here's the thing. All right. I don't know where everybody lives. I live in North Country, New York, which means we have casinos around because we have a lot of Indian reservations.
Okay.
Okay. My son, 18 years old, went to his first casino over Thanksgiving break. He goes, Mom, one of my friends started out with $25 because they all went with $25. That's all they were willing to gamble, right? It was a
Yeah.
night out in town. If they used the $25, oh, well, who cares? But they went with a specific amount of money. One of his friends was up to over $500. My son said, why didn't he stop right there? Right? Instead, the
Because
guy
it's a casino. Do you think you're gonna get more? People get greedy and they get excited and endorphins kick in and the whole environment is built for you to keep on doing what you're doing. Yeah.
So
So
he
how much was
walked
left?
out the door with $17.
Okay.
Okay,
Hey, he still stopped before going down to zero.
That is true. That's one way of thinking of it. Is that the best decision?
Yeah.
I don't know. If I had gotten up to $500, I would have said, okay, you know what? 250 is going home with me. Let me play with the other 250.
Oh, I like that. Hold on, hold on. Now we are talking kind of budgeting.
We're talking smart money
Any
decisions, smart money
any tips?
habits.
Any tips on budgeting, not only investing? Yeah.
So, so budgeting, investing, right? How much money is coming in and how much money do you want to see go out?
Yeah.
That is the biggest question about budgeting. And let me rephrase this a little. I really don't like the word budgeting
Why?
because if I say budget to you, does it make you feel like it's a limiting factor?
Absolutely. Yes, there is
Okay,
like a hard stop.
it's a hard stop. It's kind of a nasty feeling. I don't want to have that restriction put on me. So
But you know what's, it's always life. Like we need to know the boundaries sometimes. But go ahead. Okay,
how
for
about a
those
spending
who don't
plan?
like budgeting.
How about a spending plan? Does that sound a little bit friendlier, less constrictive?
It's definitely softer. I think it depends how we perceive the words. Me personally, I would still stick with the budget because I need to have, like hatchet above me. Otherwise, I can go wild as well, but not $125,000 in coaching
So
costs.
I don't like restrictions put around me.
Okay.
Okay, so if I freely make this plan, I'm more likely to stay with it. And if I change the plan a little bit,
Yeah.
I don't feel bad as
Uh-huh.
long as I've done it consciously. So like in a budget, we have the holidays coming up. Okay, let's just say there's $1,000 spending limit that you're going to buy gifts with or decorations with or whatever you're doing with.
Yeah.
You have $1,000 budget. Some people might say $1,000, that's my top. I can't go over it.
Yeah.
And if they go 100, $1,010, they beat themselves up because they went over budget.
Okay.
Okay. Some people will have a spending plan. I hit $1,000. I need that extra $10. Can I take it from someplace else that it was planned to be without hurting myself and put it into this amount, this bucket of money? So a plan is a little bit more fluid than a budget is.
Okay.
That's not
And
necessary.
I hear your approach. And guys, this is, by the way, throughout any coaching you might do in the future with Linda, that every decision, it's basically planned and it's not like in the moment. And I think that was instrumental in working with you, that I finally understood that if I have a plan, if I understand what's happening, then the decisions were definitely better. Yeah.
Right. You get to make your own decision. Nobody can make a budget for you. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is the reason that most couples, whether you are a couple or a partnership in business or a partnership in life,
Yeah.
have issues is over money. Is because we don't ever think about money identical to the person next to us. So if you're a couple, either way, partner, business, home, and you say, we have a budget, we can spend $1,000. Well, one person is making a decision, well, yeah, it's $10 over, but you know what? Instead of going out for lunch next week, I'll take that money and put it into this plan
Yeah.
and be able to spend $1,010. One person might be really happy and say, okay, that's a good decision. Somebody else will say, well, you went over budget, and it will cause discord in the partnership.
Yeah.
So it's really important that as a individual and as a partner, that whatever you're doing makes sense and there's questions asked. So if I was that partner saying, well, I've made my decision and I'm going that $10 over, I really should be turning to my partner and saying, partner, I'm going to be going over, but if I cut out lunch next week, that's going to fund that. Is that okay with you? Okay,
Hmm.
so it's not all solitary. You also have to make sure that it's communicated nicely and not accusatorily.
Okay, a question. Are you gonna have part of your course like couple oriented?
Yes.
Because that's important. So whoever is taking your course can get aligned with the partner, because I absolutely agree on everything what you are saying. It needs to be that, you know, money matters. It's important. It's an oxygen. It can become a problem, an issue. You want to be on the same page with your partner.
And they say that number one reason for divorces or partner breakups in business is money issues.
Yeah, I can see that. That can become big problem. Yeah.
People can handle infidelity better than they can handle fights over money. Go
Mm.
figure.
Hey, let's get into it. Let's start the course and end the course with it. It's like a
So
couple money
the whole
counseling
goal
case.
is, right, is you have to pay attention to. I'm going to go back, and I know I've spoken this one to you a lot. Tony Robbins has this lovely, lovely, lovely saying, you know, where your attention goes, your energy flows. So if you're starting to pay attention to your money, now millennials have a very interesting way of paying attention to their money, and it's
Tell me.
called bank balance accounting or bank balance review, meaning
Okay.
they look at their bank, you know, your app, look at your bank. I've got $200 in there. I can spend $200 in there. Okay. What they might not be thinking is what bills have to come out next week, and do I have enough money to cover those bills?
Interesting.
So same in business, same in personal life. It's really about questioning, not just do I have the money, but is this the best use of the money that
Yeah.
I have?
Yeah. So you talk about like planning and goal setting. When it comes to the goals, they are short term, midterm, long term.
Yes,
Which one
ma'am.
is the most important when, you know, starting cautiously creating a spending plan and budgets? Where do you want your students to focus first?
So first, I want you to create today's lifestyle, leaving
Mhm.
excess money.
Ah,
Okay, because now that excess money, do we have debt? Let's allocate some money towards that debt. Do we have at least $1,000 in a savings account? I
mhm.
really believe that $1,000 is minimum, because think about it today. How many car repairs are $100 versus $900, right? So anything that really happens, we really want $1,000 cushion. Prefer 3 months for the big expenses, but
Mhm.
start with 1,000. Okay, and then once we've got today's budget and, you know, today's amount of money with excess, then we're going to do short term, which is getting that savings account going and starting to pay off some debt. Then we're going to expand out from there.
Yeah.
Okay. Part of it is we need to live to enjoy today, but we also need to live to be able to afford tomorrow.
It's really important because the economy is still kind of, you know, up and down, very unpredictable, right? Law is changing,
Especially
cost
in the
of
real
money
estate
is
world.
changing. Exactly. It's fairly unstable. So creating the peace of mind, I would say it's priority. And I think the end of a year and beginning of a new year, it's actually perfect time. We will not call it a New Year resolution. Okay, guys, this is a change in a lifestyle. And
Mindset.
yes, mindset and reset. How long on average? I know that, you know, we work very closely together to get me where I am at right now, but on average, do you know how long does it take for your typical student to get back
Get back
from like a really shoebox and nightmares and a credit card debt? So how long does it take to get the hang of a financial life?
between 6 months and a year.
It's doable.
You,
Guys, it's
you,
doable.
it is doable. You usually start seeing changes between 30 and 60 days, but
Mhm.
there are usually significant changes between 6 and 12 months. I mean,
Okay.
can we take you for example?
Please go ahead. Yes, I'm
Okay,
an open book. It's a little
and
embarrassing, but I'm fine. As long as it inspires someone who might be in a questionable financial situation. Go
So
ahead.
when you and I met, you were part of the 82% of businesses that were able to afford everything they needed to each month,
Yeah.
but you weren't able to put a ton of money away each month. Okay. So 82% of all businesses are that way. Okay.
What
Real
it
estate
means,
agents, once again, are businesses. So if you're a real estate agent, do you fall into that number?
yeah,
Okay. By March of 2020, so we started actually working together in November. So 5 months later, you
yeah,
had a substantial savings account.
true. Because
Enough
you told me, and I
because,
did
well,
it.
I recommend it. You figured it out. We figured it out together. You did it. You were the one that was stepping up to your life and doing it,
Yeah,
right? Sometimes you just need that little help saying, okay, have you thought about doing it this way? Will this work for you? And so you chose to do it. So that was in 5 months. So that you had done that in 5 months.
that's right. Because my mindset was all about growing the business, my home staging business, right? And I was just pushing all the money into the growth. I was not paying myself. I was running like crazy from job to job. And I was at the point when it was really not fun, especially since I could not see anything left, right? And what was one of the first sessions we did, you helped me to figure out how much money needs to be allocated to a different parts of my business and still have something money left over for savings and for my paycheck.
And the same actually happens in your personal life, right? Because our personal life is a business. We have money coming in from our jobs or wherever, interest. We have bills that we have to pay. We have to pay rent, utilities, insurance, food, car payments, fuel, entertainment, right? So you have all of these things that we're going to be spending money on, just like your clients are paying the business, and then you have all these expenses. So the goal is we want to be in a position where we enjoy today. We can pay off whatever debt we came up with, but that we're also thinking forward to grow our life as you want it to grow your business. So
Yeah.
business, personal, this course really is aimed for personal, but it can be used for either.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the name of your course, the Money Matters Roadmap, because this is a roadmap. And I'm even tempted to put my kids through the course. What do you think? Like,
Well,
who is your ideal student?
anybody who feels like at the end of the month, they are out of money and they still have bills to pay or things they want to do. So my daughter graduates from college on Friday. She will be attending this because she needs to live her life. Now she's grown up with this, but she's like,
Yeah.
yep, mom, it's a really good thought. I really need to make sure I'm in my adult way of thinking.
Yeah.
I have a couple, and couples get it for the same price as one, just so you're aware. I have a couple who's getting married in April. They were gifted this by their parents so that they can actually start their married life out together.
That's awesome.
I have another a woman in her 50s who's like, I've never had any extra money. So it's really for those people who want to either establish good habits or are at their wits' end and need to figure it out.
Yeah. Wow. You know, and stop me if I'm just rehashing this too often. I think this should be taught at school, before kids will leave even the high school, like certain fundamentals on how to treat money. Money is a taboo. Why is that?
Interesting. Here's my take on it, and I don't know if there's any good answer. When the bartering system is how the energy of exchange was the barter system, children were bought into it. The whole family was brought into it.
Uh-huh.
Once it became money that you could actually physically see, it became this taboo subject. And it seems to be pretty much worldwide. Like if you
Mhm.
ask kids, adult kids, right? How much money did your parents make each year? What did their house cost? How much life insurance do they have?
Yeah.
It's like, huh? What? Nobody seems to know. And unfortunately, by nobody teaching the younger generation because it's private,
Yeah.
we're not teaching the younger generation how to live. So interestingly enough, I think you know that my husband and I used to own a boat dealership.
Yeah.
Well, we could get teachers into a boat. We could get plumbers into a boat. We could get electricians into a boat. When it came to lawyers and doctors, we couldn't sell them boats. Why couldn't we
Right.
sell them boats, right? Those were the ones you would think could do it.
Uh-huh.
Surgeon, spinal surgeon, cardiac surgeon, could not get them financed. They lived on debt. So
Oh
their
my
debt to
God.
income ratio was so high, we could not get them financed anywhere for an additional loan. So that
Wow.
also tells you something, right? The people
Yeah.
who made less money were watching where the money was going. They were doing the Tony Robbins thing. These
Mm-hmm.
people who were making gobs of money were spending their gobs of money plus
Yeah.
more. So it's
Yeah.
really important that it doesn't matter how much money you're making, look to see if you're spending within your means.
Yeah. It's important. I think it requires oh, it requires mindset, but also the ability to say, okay, I don't care if someone else grass is greener or living up to the standards. Guys, you do you. And it's only you who knows at the end what's left in your pocket after you take the paycheck home. And I think it's just really extremely important, but it's also empowering, you know. It might mean if you'll go through Linda's course like I did, and I will do, and I will actually invite my kids as well. At the beginning, we might all tighten up our belts, but then at the end goal is to live happy, right?
Right.
To create a plan when we can afford easily vacations and nice gifts and nice cars. But I think it's an interesting course.
So here's the big question you should
Yeah.
be asking yourself whenever you come up with this dilemma, right? Am what I'm buying or what I want to spend my money on today going to be an immediate gratification, or is it
Mhm.
going to lay a future foundation for an additional treasure?
Uh,
Okay, I have seen people that don't make very much money go out and have $500 evenings.
mm,
Okay, could you cut that down to a $250 evening? Could you cut it down to a $100 evening? Could you have just as much fun with your friends at home?
yeah.
So I've never been a big person to go out. I also don't live in an area like you do that you can go out to. But I used to have so much fun with my friends. We would all get together. We would have family karaoke nights. So they had 4 children. We have 2 children. And so it was 6 kids, 4 adults. We would have dance parties out on the backyard. We would have
Yeah.
karaoke nights with the family. We would have movie nights with the families. And it was fun. We didn't have to go out all the time and spend the money for entertainment. So
It's by
it's
design. You make choice. It
mhm.
doesn't mean that you will not have one of those, lavish evenings, maybe for anniversary or a big birthday, but you know what you are doing, right? It's not in a moment. It's not impulse
And
spending, which is very dangerous. And anyone who is watching television, I cut off television from my life. It is very refreshing. So I don't feel that need to have everything what I see.
so here's
Yeah.
another just quick tip for this. A
Uh-huh.
lot of people have huge Amazon bills.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the tips that I taught a couple of years ago was put whatever you want in the Amazon cart, wait a week and go back and see if you still need that. And it was amazing. The person I taught this to, because she had 6 children. I don't know why I have a lot of friends who have a lot of kids. She
Mm-hmm.
had 6 children. She goes, I was surprised. My Amazon bill went from like $4,000 a month to about $500 a month. Just
Yeah.
because, oh, I really want to get so and so this, or but a lot of it's the spur of the moment, the impulse spending.
Yeah. And the deals, they send you the deal of the day.
And do you really need that deal? Or, well,
No, you
especially with
don't. You
businesses
don't.
and Black Friday, right? What did
Yeah.
you do on Black Friday? How much money did you spend on courses or on templates or whatever you received in your emails for Black Friday specials?
Yeah.
Impulse spending. It's all mindset. Do you really need it now? You know, write a list, keep a list of things you need. It
Yeah.
took me 8 months to buy my laptop computer.
Mm.
And you are frozen now, by the way.
I am frozen. Can you still hear me?
And we are over time. So I'm really
They're
sorry.
overtime. Okay.
As you know, this is my passion. I think that everybody can live within the income that they receive if they choose to do so. And it's all about making good decisions. So I
Yes.
invite you to join my Financial Freedom, my Money Matters Roadmap course.
Wonderful. Linda, can you hear me? At
I
least
can.
that? Good. At least the sound is still on. So if you can please just quickly tell us, when are you starting with your course in January? What day of the week and time you are running your sessions? If there will be any Q&A, any other materials, and then we'll make sure that we will add a link to your landing page for those who would like to learn more.
Okay, so it was going to be $600 through December 4th. I have extended that until next Monday. So it's
Woo-hoo!
$600 through next Monday because we're doing this course now. After that, it's going to be $750. The course starts January 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. They are 60 minutes live over Zoom. Now, you will go into my course portal. I will have some pre-recorded material and handouts that are in there, but we are also going to review everything and have Q&A during every single session. So,
Fantastic.
right, if you miss it, you can't do 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I tried to do it late enough that the East Coast is not yet asleep, but that we can still get people from the West Coast involved.
I love it. So everyone is invited, everyone is included. Linda, thank you so much for joining us today at the jam session, and I'm looking forward to see you soon next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.